Good afternoon, and welcome to today's Business Spotlight. I'm your host, Todd Rodden. Today, you're going to hear from a leader who's purchased a business, taken it from being regional to national to now being a global operation. Not many business leaders can say that they've made that achievement. So today, we're thrilled to have Chris Eifert join us. Chris is the managing director of the U.S. for the Luxid Group, really a full-service global growth agency, and he's going to share that journey from regional to national to global and beyond with us. So if you're new to the series, we're thrilled to have you join us. We encourage you to hit the subscribe button so you can receive future messages like you're going to hear from Chris today. So without further ado, Chris Eifert, Luxid Group, welcome to the Business Spotlight. If you could take a second, tell us a little bit more about the business and how you got started. And I know, crazy fact, they got an engineer who purchased a marketing and branding agency.
That is correct. Todd, thanks for having me today. I was excited to take part in your podcast and tell our story a little bit. You asked about Luxid Group. So Luxid Group on the whole is a global business to business focused growth agency. Our job is to make marketing a commercial engine for our clients. And so we have a lot of the capability and skill set of an integrated marketing agency around creative and storytelling and visualization and web and digital media. But we bring that together with a lot of other skill sets in marketing technology, sales technology, customer data platforms, data analytics, and marketing intelligence, so we can build out systems that produce business outcomes versus doing practice specific assignments or project specific assignments. We're really working with our clients to make marketing a revenue story, right? Not a marketing story. And so that's what Luxid Group is. Now, prior to becoming Luxid Group, the agency that I owned along with my business partner was called Tricom B2B. And we were small agency here that John and I purchased in 2006 in Dayton, Ohio, just a small kind of local regional shop. We took over the agency in 2006 and kind of evolved it into a business to business focused agency instead of kind of a I guess we all things for all people type agency, doing consumer work. We were doing educational work, hospital work, industrial work. And we took it to a B2B focused agency and started to grow our footprint regionally, eventually nationally. And then, to make a long story short, in February of 2025, we were purchased by Luxid out of Europe, specifically in Finland, to help them establish a U.S. foothold, so that they could start expanding this bigger, broader story into the United States. And we have a really ambitious concept for what we want this business to be in terms of being able to help revenue minded companies and growth minded companies take marketing and turn it into a growth engine. So that's a quick background on Luxid Group and how we got here and over about the last 20 years.
Great journey on growth. If you could kind of expand upon that, maybe what are like your ideal customers look like of theirs?
Sure. So as I mentioned before, most of our business is B2B focused. So that's not entirely the case. In other parts of our business, we do some really strong direct to consumer business with some large brands in the UK and even some here in the US as well. But our focus is primarily in that business space. And if you think about verticals that we're really strong in, think about infrastructure, industrial manufacturing, life sciences, especially life sciences equipment and systems, material handling is another one, and then technology. So you'll see us working with large enterprise brands on the tech side, AWS, Dell Technologies, on the industrial side, brands like Cummins and Crown Equipment. In the material handling side, I mentioned Crown Equipment already, but Zebra Technologies, and on life sciences, BioLife Solutions, Sterling Ultra Cold. So some really interesting brands. A lot of them are enterprise level, really high visibility, but we also have a really strong portfolio of small and medium-sized businesses with a lot of ambition, in terms of their growth trajectory, in terms of the profile of their brand, and they need, outside resources and consulting like us to help them raise that profile and meet that ambition. So again, B2B focused, some verticals that we're really strong in. But one thing is for sure in all of those cases, really complex B2B buyer journeys, and an ambition for growth.
So you hit on this a little bit, but it's always key. How do businesses separate themselves from others? And candidly, there's quite a few other marketing agencies out there. So what do you think that has Luxid standing apart from the rest?
Yeah, so it's a good question. And boy, the agency space is so fragmented. And I don't mean that in terms of there's a lot of us. There are, but a part of it is also that there's just different types. So on one day we can be, if we're in a competitive situation, it can be with a boutique digital agency, all they're doing is digital advertising, right? And kind of focused really specifically on what that media spend looks like and pulling the levers in digital advertising. On other days, we're working with against large integrated brand agencies that are kind of maybe more traditionally formed around advertising and marketing. And then we can also find ourselves up against a management consulting company, like the Accentures of the world. There might be a part of their business that is consulting with one of our clients, and we're being asked for our opinion and how would we solve that problem. So to answer the first part of your question, that's the types of, I guess, environments we can find ourselves in, all sorts of different types of businesses that we can compete against depending on what problem we're trying to solve. I would say what separates us is, and you mentioned this while we were talking beforehand, I don't want to say we have a lot of services because that's not differentiating. It's the way that we built the agency around being able to tell the story on the front end, around brand expression, around visual expression, around consistent user experiences across all of your digital ecosystem, and to get that storytelling down across all the different customer touch points is really compelling. But then you combine that with large teams that are very sophisticated in terms of how to bring that story to market across earned and paid media and even your own media. We do a significant amount of media strategy, kind of integrated media strategy across paid, earned, and owned, and helping clients there. And then we add a layer of, okay, now how are we going to turn that into leads and how are we going to turn that into revenue, which is where our marketing technology and our sales technology and our customer data teams come into play to help people implement. What does lead to revenue look like? How do we optimize those systems? And then on the back end, what does the data tell us, right, about what's working, what's not working? How can we optimize these systems? And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't say we have a dedicated team in Finland working on how AI integrates into that to help us with better system optimization and even smarter decision making, faster times to market for our clients. So long answer, but it's a complex story about what makes us different. It's really purposeful and intentional building of capability that allows us to put it all together end to end with an outcome in mind. And almost always it is, hey, Luxid Group, how can you help us grow, right? How can you improve our pipeline? How can you help us generate revenue? That's the question we get asked, whether it's direct or indirect. And we are in a position where we don't have to prescribe an answer based on one capability, right? We can think about it and put an integrated team together depending on what the challenge looks like and solve it from there.
Great description. So I'm always curious of what marketing strategies work for different businesses. I'm especially interested when I talk with marketing agencies and experts in the field. So how is it your best customers find you? You mentioned some very impressive verticals and existing kind of well-known clientele there, but
Yeah.
how do they find you?
Yeah, well, I'll check the easy box first, which is, the number one rule in professional services is do exceptional work, provide exceptional service, and you get referred, right? So
Yep.
that's the easy one, and I'm sure you're familiar with that in your business, and that's where a lot of our new business opportunities come from people moving around in industries and finding new opportunities for themselves and thus for us. I would say if you're thinking about it from we need net new logos who have never worked with us before. We have to think about it like we would advise our clients. There is no one thing that works. I can tell you that for sure. You can focus on low funnel sales activation, right, and be in search engine results and in digital media platforms where that are a little bit more time of decision oriented toward the bottom of the funnel, and we do some of that. But doing that without paying attention to the brand profile that you've created, your ability to earn trust while people aren't making decisions, right? Be known for something, right? Have a point of view in your industry. Being on that day one list where people already know who you are, there's a certain amount of trust, and they've kind of decided you're already shortlisted even before the buying decision takes place is also really important. So you'll see us involved in events, conferences. We just entered into a partnership with an industry partner called The Drum, which is a large publisher and advocate for the B2B space. And we'll be taking a part in a lot of their large profile events and kind of helping to shape the B2B industry with them. And we also look at, we mentioned ideal customer profiles before, right? Some of the verticals that we're in, some of the types of customers. Well, in today's world, there are certain geographies where we know our ICPs exist, or certain geographies where we're very strong. We develop lists. We look at who the decision makers are in those businesses, and we've developed our own strategies for how to reach out to them directly, right? And it's a difficult business agency work and consulting work in general because the turnover on these relationships doesn't happen very often, right? They can be multi-year, 3, 4, 5, 7, 10, 15-year relationships that companies maintain with their agencies. And so being top of mind at the point in time when they're considering change is really important. You can't just kind of Google search your way to relevance, right? You have to be around, you have to be present and accounted for over the long haul.
On that, I mean, and you mentioned kind of the breadth of services, but what do you wish more people knew about Luxid Group?
Well, I think I've touched on it a little bit. I think um, that we're comprised of a few different businesses, right? So it was Luxus and BBN ID before that came together in 2022. IDBBN, excuse me, that came together in 2022 to form Luxid Group, and then when Tricon B2B joined the fold in 2025, that brought a new set of capabilities, new geo expansion possibilities as well. I think oftentimes we can be viewed as our historic business units, right? Because we have legacy customers who still see much of the same team, the client-facing team, and the work that they're seeing is still coming from the same resources. The part that's hard, but we're getting better at, is communicating everything else. Now that we are integrated business units that are working together, where we're bringing in capability from Europe and from the UK into our US client base and vice versa. We're being asked to participate in global client engagements rather than just the regional ones that we all have. That's the part that I think is just starting to come to fruition, but not everybody knows yet, right? That doesn't really understand that we have a lot more, right? We're not the 40-person business unit, right, that they're used to seeing. We're the 150-person firm, new capabilities, new perspectives, honestly, right? People see the world differently, see the way marketing works differently, and bringing them into those conversations is helping us, but we still have a lot of work to do there.
Now I'm curious, thank you for sharing. I'm curious, your journey as a leader, what, almost 20 years ago, you and your partner purchased the
Mhm.
business. Oh, hey, every business leader has a few twists and turns, bumps in the road along the way. To look back, what's been a past challenge that you and the team had to overcome, and what did you learn from that?
Well, I would say, I guess, I think every business owner has probably gone through these two things. One is cash, right? At the very, very beginning of the journey. I mean, just availability of working capital and cash to do the things that you want to do, to hire the talent that you need to grow the business, right? To keep upskilling the agency and professional services. This is 20 years ago, right? You have to have money, you have to have cash, you have to be willing to spend it and invest it. That's number one, right? And being able to have the capital at the beginning. The other thing that I think almost every agency and professional services firm can relate to is client concentration. When we first purchased the business, we had a client that was probably combined 75% of our revenue. All right. Yeah, I can see your reaction to that. Exactly. You don't sleep a lot when you're indebted to the seller of the business and you have 75% of your revenue tied up in a single client. So portfolio diversification was probably, we didn't have to do a lot of strategic planning because there was only one priority for the first 5 years, and it was portfolio diversification, right? And making sure the client concentration risk were reduced every year. So solving that challenge from the very beginning was really the number one thing. And that obviously, and having the cash to make sure the business could run and that we could keep hiring the talent we needed to do that, to be able to diversify our portfolio and attract better clients.
I think now as you flip that forward, right? You're looking out the windshield now. What's the challenge you have ahead of you that you and the team are trying to solve for?
Yeah. So I mean, I hate to give the cliche answer right now. The topic du jour, of course, is AI, right? And so we have significant resources within the business solving for how AI will integrate into our business, being really deliberate, really pragmatic about how it's going to help us solve internal production challenges, but also how it will help us build decision-making engines, get our customers to market faster, optimize what we're doing for them more quickly. So that's a challenge. We're very fortunate to have some funding in Europe to do that, right? And to do it very purposefully with dedicated resources so that we're not kind of individually flailing at what is the AI going to do for our business. We're being systematic and strategic about that, and expect to have actually kind of an evolved business model around that the latter part of this year. So it's a big challenge, right? And we don't know exactly where that's going to end up. We'll keep moving fast and staying up with it. I would say the other thing that we're, I mean, it's a past, present, and future challenge is just talent, right? How do we manage the recruiting, the retention, the firing and hiring that goes along with like running a business, right? Because things change quickly, people's interests change quickly, cultural pressures, right? Can emerge, right? And getting the people part right throughout all of that has been something that we've never solved fully for. I don't know that any business has. And we've always had work to do there. We're always trying to figure out how best to do that. And now that we're part of a global business where we have other resources in the UK and in Europe and in other offices, how do we cross-share those resources, right? How do we optimize the efficiency of the business across all of our resources, not just as individual business units, which is what we're all used to doing, right? But now how do we stretch across all of those? And we are getting into that right now. It's working, but it's working at a smaller scale, and it hasn't really, I guess, been fully implemented across all parts of our business yet.
How do you see that impacting the organization at this point? How's it holding back the growth of the business?
I don't know that we're being held back yet. I think by that, I think we're facing the things that are, I guess, maybe a challenge for our business right now in terms of, I guess, what our growth trajectory looks like is one still is to kind of counteract the force of artificial intelligence on. There's a certain level of insourcing that is possible within our clients now in terms of content creation, in terms of uh, creating visual assets, things that we typically and historically, have done for customers for decades, right? Some of that's easier to do. I won't say it's being done extensively by clients, but we certainly see the possibilities of what insourcing and what kind of self-managed work by our clients could do to our business. So we have to be ahead of that, right? What value are we going to bring? I see that as a future growth challenge for us for sure, right? Which is why we are, well, I guess we're not doing it just all of a sudden, but why we've continually been evolving the business toward, hey, what's the business outcome? What's the growth outcome that we can help that no one else can solve for? right? Because as much as AI tools can help customers create, I don't think it's going to help them figure out how to optimize systems where you're connecting marketing and sales technology and data analytics and bringing in our media team with the expertise and the relationships to help us optimize how you go to market across different platforms through different publications, and making sure that you're not wasting spend, right? We have customers and we've had prospective customers we've talked to and we've looked at the way they deploy media with automated tools, and the amount of waste that is happening in our industry and the amount of wasted spend is extraordinary. So helping our clients uncover that with our expertise, helping them build better platforms and better systems, that's the opportunity ahead of us, but it's also the challenge, right? So there's a lot of education there, and there's a lot of internal capability that we have to develop across our business units to do that.
We already hit on this, the focus around teams. What have been a couple unlocks that you've had around developing talent and attracting talent to the organization?
You know, we're really lucky, and I'll speak for the U.S. office specifically since I have more than 20 years here. Um, we're not perfect, right? I think like we've done some things that haven't been perfect throughout the 20 years, but I think culturally we've been an attractive business. We have vendors and partners that work with us. We have people that walk in the building on a daily basis that say to us, "Man, I wish I worked here." Right? So I think the number one thing that we can focus on is making sure that that is something people say about our company organically, because it'll come through in the interviews. When we're trying to hire new talent, it makes referrals come to the business for new talent a lot easier. So I think making sure that that's the feel and the vibe of this business is very important. And that comes through really making sure we have the right leaders in place in the business. I have an exceptional, and I mean, everybody's going to say this, but I really have an exceptional leadership team who is culturally, they have the right energy, the right work ethic. They lead by example. They'll do the work, right? And they'll lean in and help people. And because of that, I think it really supports a broader system of trust within our business. And I think that just comes through organically. So like that's not a lever we learn to pull or some quick fix or some talent platform we've unlocked that helps us. It's nothing like that. I think it's just paying attention to making sure you do the very best you can by the people that you work with. And that's the people that work in your company. It's your suppliers and your trust partners, treating them well, paying them fast, and just trying to do right by people. That's the unlock that we found works the best.
Right on. So, 20 years in, Chris, again, lots of lessons learned. We just hit the tip of the iceberg so far in our time together. I'm curious, as you look back, what have been your keys to success that you share with our viewers who are newer in their journey as an entrepreneur?
Well, I mean, if there's one key to success, and I don't think I've learned this honestly until these latter parts of my career, is honestly just making sure you focus on being grateful for what you have. So everybody, yeah, the temptation to say, "Oh, in the business it's this," but I think it's kind of life first, right? I'm very fortunate. I have really healthy children. I have a beautiful marriage. I'm able to do things in life without a lot of stress because I have the means to do that. I think starting from that paradigm, and I try to do that every day. I don't write down my list of gratitudes or anything like that, but I do try to focus on, keep perspective that things are good, right? And my life is under control, and I'm very lucky there, and that allows me a platform, I think, to do better at work. So I think if you focus on your life before the business would be my first, and I'm very lucky that that's been, an area of great positivity for me, because I think just knowing that that's not easy for other people, or people don't always have the things, and the great outcomes that I've had in life has helped me have a better platform for being my best at work. So that would be my biggest piece of advice: is don't make it about work. right? Make it about your life first, and the work part's a lot easier.
Advice, not only for business, but definitely for your approach to life as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, Chris, our time flies
Yeah.
in these conversations. So, as we wrap up here, what are the best ways for folks to learn more or to
Yeah.
connect with you and the Luxid Group?
Well, if you're interested in Luxid Group, the business, it's easy. It's luxidgroup.com. That's Luxid group.com. If you're interested in having a conversation with me, and I will talk to anybody about anything, and I love to drink coffee, so we can always do it that way, virtually or in person. On LinkedIn, it's /Chris Eifert. So you can reach out to me and message me, and I'm always up for a conversation. That's where I learn the most. That's where I get the most fulfillment out of my job, is just meeting other people, doing other things, and learning from them. So happy to do that.
I encourage our viewers to check out the show notes for the website and the LinkedIn information there. So as we wrap, Chris, I'm curious, it's a year from now, right? That time will go fast. But what, as you sit here today, what are you excited about that the team and yourself will be celebrating a year from today?
Yeah, well, the first thing we're going to hopefully be celebrating in the next year would be the U.S. Will win the World Cup. That's my number one focus, right? That's my number one focus right now. So I'm really enjoying that, and finding this World Cup time to be a really fun time for me. But that aside, I would say, um, our ambition is more global, right? And I think as a business, to show that we have converted business that we are doing in multiple continents as a joined up business, if we're doing that in a year, right? And I don't care like what work we're doing, because I think that's going to constantly evolve what we're doing for clients. It can go in a lot of different directions, but if we're doing that on a global platform across continents with our business and supporting a client that way, the coming together of our businesses will have proven itself to be a success. So I would put that out as a marker for us.
Great things to look forward to, right?
Yeah.
And yes, go USA.
Yeah.
And the World Cup. So again, Chris Eifert, Managing Director, Luxid Group, thank you for taking the time out and sharing your lessons learned and your story with us here on the Business Spotlight.
Thanks, Todd. Really enjoyed it.
All right. For our viewers, we appreciate you joining us today as well. Again, encourage you to hit the subscribe button so you can receive future messages, and hit the like button so that helps us share the message even more broadly with other aspiring entrepreneurs. And with that, I hope you all have a terrific day. Thank you.